Okay, guys, I don't usually like to do this. When I have comments or questions, I like to answer you guys. But I got to talk about this because it's such a meaningful part of my book and what I learned about the game. Chandler versus Pimblett. What do I think about it? Guys, so they desperately want to make Patty into a star, right? Patty, in many ways, already is a star, right? And one thing about the UFC, they've done this since the time of Michael Bisping. They know, like, they have to open up other markets. How do you open up other markets? By having a star from that market, right? That's why Alex Poton Pereira was very important to them. Not that Brazil wasn't an open market, but what's important is to have champions from there still in the UFC. I mean, after all, that's kind of the country that started everything, if you will. So everything in the fight game is matching, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. Look, you want proof of that? Mike Tyson's first 20 fights, 19 really, 18 really, were total setups. Like, you guys that were meant to fall down in front of him to increase his aura and get him noticed and get him attention, not only from the fans and the media, but also giving him confidence, right? Then, little by little, they started bringing him up. They almost lost with James Quick Chillis, but then they put him in the right fights, and they had a hell of a run until he stopped training and fired his trainer and did all those things that people do when they're rich and famous and they think they've done things by themselves. Then conversely, there was a fighter named Burt Cooper, one of my favorite fighters, guys. Came up around the same time as Tyson in Philly, not New York. And Cooper had all the skills Tyson had. But one thing Cooper did not have was, people taking him to the Catskills and coddling him and making him be the best he could be. He had to stay in Philly with all the temptations of the street and drugs and whatnot. Cooper's career finished about 33-30 or something like that. But if you want proof of his skill, he knocked down Michael Moore twice, almost beat him, knocked down Evander Holyfield, even though it wasn't called. I mean, the guy was every bit as good as Mike Tyson was, but he didn't have that coddling, if you will. Now, here's the problem with that, guys, and this is very important. You can coddle a fighter too much. The UFC matched Pimblett with guys they thought he could beat, and then suddenly guys surprise you. And that's because, and my trainer told me this after I beat some guy in kickboxing, and I said, well, yeah, but it's just him. And my trainer said, guys, Derek, he's got two arms, he's got two legs, he's a human like everybody else, and he can hurt you. What is that a long way of saying? It's every fight is dangerous, guys. I don't care the skill level of the opponent. So you might think you're giving Paddy Pimblett a soft touch, and you're really not. Now, what are they doing with Chandler? Chandler clearly is on something of a decline, if you will, right? Like, he's lost the majority or at least half his fights since he's been in the UFC, but they've matched him very tough. He's also a short guy. I think they want to see if Pimblett is ready to step up to this level. This is a less dangerous fight than when they gave Sean O'Malley Peter Yan. And O'Malley won that fight by the skin of his teeth, right? He didn't really win the fight, if you ask me. With Pimblett, I think they're giving him a chance to prove himself, right? Bobby Green fight was great. I was very impressed with Paddy Pimblett there. Now, if he can put away Chandler, I'll be more impressed whatsoever. And this is how you build a fighter. It's all psychological. And I talk about this. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. But through proper matching and coddling that guy, they got him into a world championship match. They got him a world title he didn't deserve. Got him the lineal match, and he almost won it by knockout. That's your job as a promoter, a manager, a trainer, like to take care of your fighter. Like when Mick was screaming at Rocky, that's my job to protect you, when he didn't want him to fight that dangerous champion. Guys, because I got news for you. There's somebody that can beat everybody, right? Like, so there's no invulnerable person. The problem is the fans think people are invulnerable. We get crazy and we think, yeah, he can't be beat. Guess what, guys? Everybody can beat. It just depends on the matching, the timing, and all of that. Those things going together, that momentum factor. Now, do I think Pimblett is going to beat Chandler? Yeah, I actually do. I think Pimblett's going to rise to the occasion, and I think Chandler's on the downslide. Is it possible Chandler could win? Of course it is, but I'm riding with Pimblett on this one. I think they've set him up perfectly for his success, and let's see what happens. And everybody read my book, Warrior of the Light.